Can Peter Obi defeat Tinubu in 2027? This was a question we asked, and we got several responses. The answer was a resounding yes. Peter Obi can indeed defeat Tinubu in 2027. In fact, many persons believe that Peter Obi defeated Tinubu in 2023 and that Tinubu managed to rig his way with the support of his party, APC, INEC, and the judiciary to rig the election and rig Peter Obi out. So we had to modify our question. We don't want a situation whereby in 2027, Peter Obi defeats Tinubu again, and then we end up where we are now, where we now say, oh, but Tinubu rigged his way into Aso Rock again. So we modified the question to sound something like this. Can Peter Obi overcome Tinubu's potential rigging machinery or rigging apparatus to defeat him and get sworn in as president of Nigeria in 2027? Now, the answer we got was a bit mixed. Some people think, oh, Tinubu is the master of rigging. And others thought, okay, fine, this time around, Peter Obi will be better prepared. So the answer was mixed, but at the end of the day, it was still a yes. Peter Obi can indeed defeat Tinubu with any form of rigging he wants to throw at him in 2027. So how will that look like? What will that journey be like? What will be the milestones from now till 2027 that Peter Obi must achieve? What will be the roadblocks that he will encounter? And what will he do to overcome such roadblocks so that by the end of May 29th, 2027, it will be Peter Obi in Aso Rock, not Tinubu? What are the things that needs to happen? Anyway, welcome to the journey. Not just any journey. Welcome to Tinubus Journey to defeat in 2027. For Peter Obi to defeat Tinubu in 2027 and get sworn in, that is very important. There's no point defeating Tinubu and then he's rigged out. And then Tinubu gets to continue in Aso Rock in 2027. And then we now get to where we are, where we start to complain and say, Tinubu rigged. No. This victory plan has to take into account the propensity of Tinubu to rig and has to take into account everything that Tinubu has to do to rig and then overcome all of them so that at the end of the day, come May 29th, 2027, Peter Obi is sworn in as the next president of Nigeria. That is the kind of win that Peter Obi needs. That is the kind of defeat that we want for Tinubu. So anything short of that is not a win and it's not total defeat for Tinubu. Now, for Tinubu to be totally and completely defeated, which is possible, we have ascertained this. For Peter Obi to win and get sworn in as the next president of Nigeria, which is also very possible, we have ascertained this. 7 things need to happen. 7 things. Now, those 7 things have to happen in the sequence in which I mentioned them, from number 1 to number 7. None of them can get missing. This is very important. The reason I'm giving out this information at this time is so that every Nigerian out there can have hope. Yes, they can have hope and know that Tinubu can be defeated. So they will know what their responsibilities are, and then they will get out and do their responsibilities so that we can take back this country. Without this information, many people might get to become discouraged. Many people might get to just give up even before the battle starts. And we don't want that. We need all Nigerians, all hands on deck. We need to be going at full speed. Everybody working together to take back this country and put it on the path of production, of progress, of abundance. We need to do that. So 7 things that must happen between now and 2027 to ensure that Peter Obi defeats Tinubu totally and gets sworn in as the next president of Nigeria in 2027. This is crucial. Number 1, and that's the very first thing that must happen. We need a network of persons that are staunch or ardent or diehard supporters of Peter Obi from every nook and corners of Nigeria. And you know what that means? A solid structure. We have to build a solid structure of persons that are interested in a new Nigeria. We have to have a network of these people across all the 176,000 polling units in Nigeria. And we have to be in talking terms. We have to be collaborating. We have to be organizing. We have to be doing things together in such a way that we can bypass the need for big money politics and ensure that we are making sacrifices that will throw up people that will support Peter Obi. A solid structure, very, very crucial. You see, Peter Obi cannot do it alone. I said it before, a single Peter Obi cannot make a forest. So we need other several Peter Obis. And these are the people that will form the core networks. In fact, these people will form the people that will get thrown up into the National Assembly, the state houses of assembly, the state governors, and all of that. The local government councillors, local government chairmen, and all of that. A network of people across the length and breadth of the over 176,000 polling units, 8,000 plus ward, 774 local government, 36 states plus the FCT. We need this network of persons. How we do it? Yeah, a couple of options. Abundance Party being a very formidable one. But there are others which we are open to. But you see, for Peter Obi to become the next president of Nigeria, the first thing that must be done is a solid structure. A solid one. I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to join to create the Abundance Party of Nigeria. Number two thing that must happen before Peter Obi can be the next president of Nigeria is we must have electoral reforms. Part of the things that happened that made it possible for Peter Obi to get rigged out in 2023 was INEC's partisanship or apparent partisanship. The fact that there was a glitch played a very huge role. At the end of the day, we ended up where we are now. So if Peter Obi is going to be the next president of Nigeria, aside from having a solid structure, the next thing that must happen is we must push for electoral reforms. The way, the speed, the manner in which the National Assembly passed the National Anthem law, the speed at which they passed the Appropriation Act, that same speed, we need to pressure them. Starting now, there's no time. Pressure them to make it compulsory. Amend the Electoral Act 2022 to make it compulsory that INEC must electronically transmit election results from the polling units to the INEC servers, and then collation must be electronic so that we are seeing it in real time. We must push for this reform, and there's no time. This can be achieved because Labour Party has some senators, they have some lawmakers in this National House of Representatives, even in the state houses of assemblies. So what do they need to do? They need to push this bill. Senator Eriti Kingibe and others need to push this bill now in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, so that we can have it amended and have these reforms. Because without these reforms, it is not impossible for Peter Obi to defeat Tinubu still, but it will make the journey, the ride, an interesting one. For me, even if this number two does not happen, I still know of a way that Peter Obi will defeat Tinubu in 2027. So the journey is still there. The journey of Tinubu to defeat in 2027, still intact, with or without number two, which is electoral reforms. But we must push for electoral reforms so that the process can be seamless, so that we can all enjoy it as we see Tinubu go down the road of defeat in 2027. Electoral reforms, compulsory. We must push for it, and we must start now. Now, after a good structure, the electoral reforms, what is the third thing? We must contend with Tinubu's propaganda machine. That's number three. There are a lot of propaganda that are ongoing right now. A lot of propaganda. Number one is the Igbo must go propaganda. Number two is the IPOP propaganda. There's a propaganda there. Number three is the Peter Obi is weak. A weak person cannot rule Nigeria. That's another propaganda there. The division between Muslims and Christians, that's another propaganda there. The division between Igbos and other tribes, Igbos and Edos, and all of these things that we have seen, all of the talk of people saying, oh, some people should be poisoned. All these are propaganda, and they are targeted. They are targeted at Peter Obi for the 2027 presidential election. So if Peter Obi must defeat, and which he will, in 2027, we have to take care of the third thing, which is Tinubu propaganda machine. We have to come up with counter propaganda for every propaganda that they will throw up. We have to come up with it. It is very, very important. We'll subsequently do videos that will take care of each of these, but let's just run through them for now. Remember, we are looking at Tinubu's journey to defeat in 2027. We have looked at 3 items, 3 possible roadblocks. We're looking at the 4th one right now, and that is we must overcome Tinubu's intimidation machine. We must overcome Tinubu's intimidation machine. Right now, the intimidation of thugs. The intimidation of thugs is there. The intimidation of power of incumbency is there. What can we do? Will it be business as usual with the way we had the likes of MC Oluomo coming out to do the stuff that he did, that we had even traditionalists come out to declare Oro, to do the stuff that he did. We had thugs snatching ballot boxes and burning ballot papers and attacking supporters and even threatening people not to come out in places that are perceived to be strongholds of Peter Obi. All these are intimidation tactics. So the first thing that Peter Obi must do to overcome this 4th roadblock is to come up with measures to overcome Tinubu's intimidation machine. It is very, very possible. We'll take a deeper dive into this in a subsequent video. But for now, let's move on to the 5th item, the 5th milestone, the 5th roadblock that Peter Obi must overcome to become the next president of Nigeria. We must curtail INEC's excesses and rigging attempts. INEC's excesses and rigging attempts. So from now, we must begin to educate voters. So number 1, start continuous voter registration on time. Ensure that these people receive their PVCs. And for those people who receive their PVCs, we must put things in place to ensure that they come out to vote. They don't fall victims of the intimidation machine. They don't fall victim of the propaganda machine. They don't fall victim to those two. Right? And then, of course, because we have a solid structure, we'll have a solid network of polling unit agents that are passionate, they are diehard, they believe in the cause. In fact, multiples of them per polling unit, so that one can serve as check against the others, so we will not have a situation whereby polling unit agents are selling out Peter Obi as they did in 2023. We need these structures in place. The number 6th one is to check the activities of security agencies, the activities of the DSS, the activities of the police, the activities of NSCDC. We need to put measures in place to make sure that we check them. See, anything that happens in darkness is not seen. So if you want to see anything that happens in darkness, what do? You shine light on top of it. There's a way we can shine light on the activities of security agencies before, during, and after the 2027 elections to ensure that they play their role constitutionally and do not deviate from it. We can do that. All we need to do is discuss it. I have some wonderful ideas in that regard. Subsequently, we will talk about it. Now, the 7th one is how do we ensure justice at the judiciary if the case eventually gets there. From the events of the 2023 presidential election, we have seen that there are 2 categories of things that we must pay attention to at the judiciary. Items that the judges have prerogative over and items they don't have prerogative over. Things like 25% of FCT, internal party matters, double nomination of Shetima, and the US drug case, and all of those things. They are things that fall within the prerogative of interpretation of the justices or the judges from the Supreme Court down to the tribunal. So we can also include these in the electoral reforms, but I don't want us to burden ourselves too much with putting too many things in that electoral act or changing too many things in there. Let's just put that electronic transmission, right? And then electronic collation. Once we have those two, I think we are home and dry. And once we have those two, then we will reduce the items that are within the prerogative of the judges. Because what is in black and white, by way of Forms EC8A, you cannot dispute it. 1 + 1 is 2. It doesn't matter whether the judge loves Tinubu or is supporting APC or not. 1 + 1 is going to be 2. So when we do this, we will make sure that the judiciary is not put under undue pressure to act in a way that becomes compromising. We will help them in that regard. With these 7 things, can you see now that the journey of Tinubu to his defeat in 2027 is a sure one? Yes, there might be roadblocks, but the roadblocks can be surmounted. What is your opinion? What do you think? What are the things I missed out? Let me know, because we must engage in this together so that we can defeat Tinubu and get Peter Obi to be sworn in as the next president of Nigeria. Yes? Yes? Yes. And the starting point to do that, don't forget, if you have not joined it, click the link in the description. You have to join us to start and create the Abundance Party of Nigeria and also the Free Food and Social Welfare Law. It is critical. I'll talk about it in another video. Very, very critical. See you in the next one. Victory is sure.